Welcome back to the Tomb, everyone. We've been on a little bit of a break. This is Tomb Talks with the Pharaoh. We back. We back to finish up season two, part two. And for today's episode, it's called The Makings of the Man, part two. And I have a very important guest with me today, and I'll have her go ahead and introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Anne Marie Davis. I'm Ashanti Ali's mom. That's who I am.
That's who you are. Yes. Uh, so I ended up doing the second part because, well, first of all, I just wanted to talk to you, even though you call me every single day. Wow. I mean, it's true. But also,
But I enjoy speaking to you.
and I enjoy speaking to you too every other day. I'm kidding. But I did have some people talking to me. It was like, oh, well, why'd you only introduce your dad? Like, why? Like, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, shut up. But they did have a point because it does take two to tango, and even though I am slowly turning into him each and every day, it took both of you for me to get here. So I wanted to get your perspective on my upbringing, and then I also wanted to talk to you about a little bit about marriage and relationships, because you're the, I would say, not the better, but the more communi- communicative, uh, communicative. Ooh, there we go. Words are hard. Parent to talk to about that stuff because I don't think Dad even knows how long y'all have been married.
He probably doesn't, because in his mind, if he is counting it down on a calendar, that means he's looking for an exit plan. But we good. He doesn't have an exit plan.
Okay.
I'm a very good mate.
Okay, so how long have you guys been married? Oh no.
82, 41, 41 years.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're gonna circle back to that. But the first question I wanted to ask you is that when you were raising us as well, to adults, were there differences in how you raised me versus how you were raising your daughters, my sisters?
Well, yes. I mean, it's the obvious. They're female, you're male. But the other thing is there are things that when I came to an impasse with you, I would have to just step back and realize that I didn't have the same mind that you did. So I didn't have that male energy. However, I've also been told that there's one thing that a lot of my friends just could not understand, that I believe that if a little girl hit you.
Oh God, we're getting into this. Okay.
Wow.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to preference this a lot, but go ahead.
No, if you are a little girl and their parents are like, oh, I have daughters, so I'm telling my daughters, you go out there and you don't let anyone control you, you know. However, if a little girl decides that she wants to hit Ashanti Lee Davis, then Ashanti Lee Davis, from his mother's perspective, was able to hit a girl back. Now, because you've always just been strong, I preferenced it with, you couldn't hit a girl back with 100% of your strength. So, however,
and I've been fortunate that I've never been in a situation for that to happen.
Well, that's good. Um,
Normally, I have girlfriends that will fight on my behalf. So,
see, that's even better. However, there was that one time when you were in elementary school, and this is when I found out that your father and I didn't have the same mindset. This little girl uh, hit you, and you hit her back because, I told you it was okay. And I'll
wait, this
never
was
forget.
elementary school?
Yes.
Oh, I don't remember
But,
that. Maybe I blocked that out. I'm sorry.
well,
But
wait, it was either first or second grade, because you were at the South School, and I got called up to the school. I came up to the school, and this woman and I are coming into the building together, and we're saying hi. We've seen one another in the bus line, and for pickup and whatnot. And I said, "Well, I'm up here because this boy wanted to hit somebody." She said, "Oh." She said, "Do you know who he hit?" I was like, "No, but I'm going to find out when we get in here." It was her daughter that you hit. So, but the whole time we were walking down to Dr. Fisher's office, she was saying how, Ashanti Lee is so nice and this, that, and the other. Well, we were completely confused when
plot twist.
he looked at me. I looked at her. I said,
Is he
well,
still
I did.
nice now?
I I said, well, I did tell him that if a girl hits him, he could hit her back. There was only one thing that he could not do. He couldn't hit her back with all of his strength. And she said, but he's such a nice guy. And I said to myself, okay, we're going to see how this is going to go. Well, everyone had come to your defense that she had been bothering you and that you did tell her to leave you alone and she hit you, you hit her back. And I was all right with that. Then and I
Now,
had
I have a
called,
question.
yes.
With that same mentality, if one of your daughters came to you and said that their boyfriend hit them, would you hold that same philosophy?
If one of my, and the
If
philosophy be that she should hit him back, she shouldn't come to
no
me
that
and
no that he hit her, would your first thing be it's like, well, did you hit him first, or would you
oh,
just ask what happened?
I think that's the same question, but I would, because in this day and time, you have to be very direct with people. Like, what happened? And then, yes, but if he hit her, um, you'd have to make a strategic move on whether you could hit the person back physically or hit them back mentally. And I would, I'd go with the mental one. Like, I'm gonna have a strategy because one, this is not the relationship I'm supposed to be in. Um, for an exit.
Mm-hmm. So I guess if your immediate thing is asking, it's like, oh, like, well, you said you would ask like what happened, or did you hit him first? So that wouldn't technically be victim blaming. But I guess if one of your daughters said it's like, oh no, I hit him first. He was saying something dumb and I hit him. And he hit her
Well,
back.
I'm gonna ask him, did you take it like a G or what? Like, how do
Uh,
you hit somebody and think that they're not gonna hit you back?
um, well, I can tell you it's the social contract that society has, because that same mentality that dad had was just like, because his thing was, what he said is that you should never hit a woman. And that is true in 95% of the time, because you have some crazy men out here that the wind blows the wrong way and they go upside their girlfriend or wife's head. Those people deserve to be buried underneath the prison. Those people can't be rehabilitated. But that other 5% is that the violence was not initiated by the man. Okay.
Well, son, I'm just going to say that if one of your sisters hit a man, there would be some, there would have to be some reasoning of why she would think that he would not hit her back, considering that they wouldn't want to be hit. So if they don't want to be hit, don't be hitting other people. But if you hit
So
somebody,
do unto others as you want done unto you.
that works.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, but then again, we do know the women in our lives. We know which ones would fight back and which one would just put glass in his food. I'll let them figure out which one's which. No, but it was interesting because you're saying that like you've gone up to the school a couple of times for me. And when you talked about elementary school, one story came to mind, and that was the one where in kindergarten, when they tried, well, I think it was twice in kindergarten, where they tried to say that I was special needs. One was about the numbers, and then the other one was about my name. Could you go ahead and give those two stories?
So Ashanti Ali decided that the assignment was to write your numbers from 0 to 9. He goes from 0 to 7. He draws a line, leaves it blank, and then he makes the 9. And he tells the teacher that he knows how to make the number, but his mind knows it, but his hand didn't. And I said, when I was encountering the teacher, well, I that doesn't make any sense. I know he knows how to make an 8. And she says, well, look at the paper. And I could see it. It was a blank spot where the 8 was supposed to be. So, I don't understand this thing about, oh, let's talk to the parent first and then let's bring in the kid. If you're there for your child, that conversation should take place, all of us together at the same time. But okay, didn't. So they bring you in, and she says that he doesn't know how to make an 8. And I said to him, but I know you know how to make an 8. So what's the problem? Well,
did you say that calmly, Mom?
To you, no, I had bent down and I was leaning into you like, you got to explain something to me. I know you know how to make an 8. And then she told me, oh, he said, she was like, oh, he said his mind knew it, but his hand didn't. And I was like, okay. So I said to him, well, what's going on? Well, you're 100% right. Your mind did know it, and your hand did not, because I didn't know this until that day. And apparently, there are 2 ways to make the number 8 when you're introducing writing to young children. You make the number 3, and then you make a backwards 3 and you connect them together. That is so foolish to me. Or you do, she was like, oh, or you do a snowman. I was like, I thought we were dealing with numbers. Yeah, a small,
You make a
pardon.
small circle and a bigger one.
Well, that's not what you were taught at home. You made what they call now like a figure 8, infinities. So it's bad. Making all these daggone foolish. I'm sorry.
No, it's fun.
So there was, there was that.
And
So
that was the
she,
first one. Oh wait, sorry. You still I didn't tell you what was going on. Sorry. So when you asked me what was going on, like my hand knows it. Sorry, my mind knows it, but my hand doesn't.
it doesn't, right. And so I was like, and so then I'm looking at you, I'm like, I need words, son. I really do need you to give me some words. Then in the midst of it, you tell me that you are, what is that called? You're in between 2 people. So with you being left-handed, your hand was just, hitting the other person and whatnot. And so I said to her, this is a real simple fix. Why don't you move him to the end of the table so that when he writes, he's not being, I'm so sorry.
Disruptive.
That, yes. I was like, so why don't you just, let him be. He has things that he got to do. He's here to learn. And you're the teacher. You couldn't figure out it was really simple just to move him to another position on the table so he could be able to write comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was the first time, because the only thing that I remember about that was that because I wasn't making the number 8, she thought that there was something cognitively wrong with me, and that was the first time. And then the second time that she had to come up there for the same teacher, that was when I wouldn't respond to my name. So could you go ahead and, I wouldn't respond to what she was calling me.
because your name is not King. Your
Excuse me?
name, because she was calling you King. She wanted to make your name easy for the other children. And you had someone in your class named like Igor. And I was like, so everybody can say Igor, there's no problem? Well, it's something to the effect of their heritage. Well, that's him. His name is Ashanti Ali. His middle name is Farrell. You know his last name. So what you're not going to call him is King. But I don't think that, it's a lot for a little one to say Ashanti Ali. We'll just call him King, or we'll call him Ali. No. What you're going to call him is his first name. So his first name is Ashanti Ali. His first name is not Ali. He's his middle name is Pharaoh. You're not going to call him King, and that's how it's going down. So that was it.
But the problem is that the reason why they called you down was because they would either call me King or Ali, and I just wouldn't respond to them. So
well, that's big.
I'm sorry.
That's 100%, because Ali is not your name is a part of your first name. Your name's Ashanti Ali. I know what a pharaoh is, but that's not what we didn't name you king. We didn't give people names for them for other people decide not to call them the names that your father and I gave you.
Yeah, we've already been renamed once as a people. So uh it's yeah, that was I remember well throughout school that was problematic because especially in elementary school, it's always, well, do you have a nickname? And I would tell them you can call me Pharaoh. And apparently uh it wasn't the length of the name that was the problem. It was just calling a black boy either by his name or a name that had significance was the problem for them. Um, there's a decent amount of people right now that are probably listening that know me from college that are like, oh, like that call me Ali. So let me just give a preference to you. Let me give a mulligan for you guys. Is that it wasn't for me? It wasn't being called Ali that I had a problem with. I had a problem with people telling me what they were going to call me, and that's the fundamental difference. Because if I told someone my name and they're just like, oh, like can I just call you Ashanti? It's just like, okay, so now I know you're hard of hearing. It's like, no, now you have to say the full thing, or else we're not talking anymore. Um, but with well, so it seems like I did not make raising me very easy, since you always had to come up to the school for me.
Oh, no, no, no. Do not put that energy out there. That is not what was going on.
Out of our
I,
siblings, who did you have to come to the school for more? Well, sorry, out of my siblings.
okay, I might have been up to the school for
Thank you.
you and you and Corey.
And I think I beat her out by at least like maybe 2 or 3 instances. But it was, for disclaimer, it wasn't because I was a bad kid.
No, it was
It,
because you needed to let people know
they just kept fucking
exactly.
with me.
Well, I mean, okay,
It's okay. It's my
but
podcast. I can swear if I want to.
okay.
You can too.
Um, listen, you weren't a bad kid. They were just trying to put you like in this box. And I was like, no, he's gonna be free. That's just not gonna happen. He's gonna be respectful. That's not an option. That is the standard of the family. He's gonna be respectful. You know, you know my philosophy. If something was going wrong and you had to verbally handle it, when it was over, just make your way down to the principal's office. Uh, that was just an understanding.
And the other thing that you also would tell us all the time, more so me because you had to keep coming down for me, is that you said it's like, I will fight for you as long as you tell me the entire story.
That's it. That's all I need. Just tell me the whole story. Don't forget important parts of the story, because then now you're gonna have well, now I'm up at the school for you because in my mind I'm here to defend you. Now people haven't given me the complete story, and educators don't like it when parents snatch their children up in, in a meeting.
Yeah, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure they're mandated reporters. So you hem up your child in the presence of them, pretty sure they're gonna have to tell somebody. Yeah,
Okay, well they
yeah.
can, and guess what? And I think I've made it clear to you all that that whole concept of, because I think you were you and Corey were the ones that
And I
were,
know.
no, because I mean, honestly speaking, the things that you were being taught in school You were like, oh, excuse me for a minute. Pardon me. You were being taught in school. You all were coming home and like, oh, let me try this out. That's like
Wait, like what?
that. See about that mandated reporting stuff. Oh, you know, if you hit me, I can call. Well, up here it's called DSS. So it would be like, wait, what? You're in my house and you're gonna call people on me, an outside person in
That
my house?
that wasn't me. That must have been my other siblings, because I don't think I ever said that.
Well, you did want me to know that that's what you were being taught. So
Yeah, I was just relaying information. That was not me saying I was going to use it, because I know
you
that if
know,
it's like, I
wasn't
know if I told you, it was like, oh, I'm going to call 911. It's just like, you'll get to the nine. Uh,
that's all I can tell you with that. Yeah.
no,
Because
but
at that point, then that's when when people are giving children, and I really do understand that there are times and there are reasons that some children need to have this information. However, having this information and the possibility that you're going to call an agency on your parents, if you can make that, you don't like it the way your parents are disciplined. Okay. Now you're gonna call 911 on me? I mean, call Department of Social Services on me? All right. When
yeah,
they get there, they need to take you with them. Not because, oh my gracious, let me find out. We're not having a conversation. Just take him, take them. Anybody that want to call, they don't like the conditions that they're living in. It's okay. And like I did preference it by there are some people, some parents that don't have the skill set to raise children in a positive way. So I understand that there might be they would need that.
so let me ask. So, going off of that, where did you learn the skill set to raise us properly?
Oh, no parent has.
Well, I'm not saying the complete skill set, but you get a starter pack. It's like, where did you get your starter pack from?
I believe 80% of how people raise their children is they look at their lives and they were like, I don't want this to happen. I don't want this to be done. And it's by knowing what you don't want so that you can get to what you want and what you want to convey to your children.
Okay, so with that, is that what were, I guess, what were some of the things for you that you decided to omit from, I guess, you growing up, and what were some things that you kind of, tested out on us? Well, actually, it'd be Carmen Corey you tested that out on first, but I
So
got the refined parenting because that was the last one.
I don't know why people say that. Nah, man. They're like, oh, that last child, you know, you're tired by the time that child gets here. Well, I mean, if you wait in 20 years, maybe you might be tired, but an 8-year difference is not going to put me in a place where I'm tired and I don't have the skill set to discipline. And my goal was always that when I was finished raising these little people, that I would always, if I didn't know them and I encountered them on the street, I have the ability to speak to people and young people. I would want that those children that I have been raising in my home, I would want them to be a decent human being. And if I met them on the street, I could have a conversation with them. That was my goal. I didn't want them, people say, well, what did you want for your children? Decent human being. And then they always follow up of what did you want for them as a profession? That would be about their passion. That's not about me. Yep, that was it. So a decent human being is what I wanted, and I did really well with that.
You didn't want me to be a doctor instead of a podcaster?
Nope. Podcasting wasn't a part of our lives back then.
That's fair.
But you've always been able to have communication was something that you were gonna be. Now, strange enough, excuse me, I thought that you would have been. I knew science was always going to be your thing because you just, that's just what you did. And but maybe a lawyer because you enjoyed the idea of arguing a truthful statement.
Yeah, almost to my detriment sometimes, because sometimes people just don't want to talk to me because they know that if they say something dumb, I'm going to call them out on it. But it's interesting that you say that you knew that it was gonna, like, communication was something, because if you don't well, if you remember correctly, I used to have a stuttering problem. And go ahead and tell the people how you got me out of that, Mom.
Wow, man.
Oh, I'm pulling out all the stops. Yes.
Mr. Davis. Okay, so.
But it was done with love, just tough.
Chantilly, listen.
Yes, Mom.
There was a lot of things. Listen, there are some things that you have to get kids to be able to do and say quickly. You stuttering was not going to be something that, if you needed my help and you're playing around and you can't get that help out, that H sound, I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what you need from me. So what I believe I said was,
now remember, your other children are going to be listening to this, and we know what you said.
I think I have a mental block about it because I don't know. Babe. I think I might have told you to just take your time and.
Ready? This is exactly what you said to me. Boy, stop. Think about what you're going to say and then say it. Don't rush through it. Just say it. Think about it and say it.
What?
Yes.
It's not people talking about, oh, you out here making them think you need a speech therapist. No, you didn't need no speech therapist. You just needed to take your time and speak. That's all you needed.
I mean, it worked. I don't stutter anymore.
I'm glad that you don't stutter anymore. I'm glad. And
every time I'm about to, I hear, boy, stop. I was like, oh, okay, let me think about it for a little bit. Let me think about it a couple more seconds before I start. So So yes,
And look, you saved us so much money. Oh, you didn't have to go to a speech therapist. Then they would have wanted to know. Then see, the school thing.
I'm
So
glad trauma is economically beneficial. Uh, his money saving. Yes.
it wasn't necessary. All you needed to do is have someone speak to you in a calm, loving tone
It
and
wasn't calm,
say,
but it was loving. I love you. I love you. You got me. You got me to stop stuttering. So it's not. This isn't like, oh, like I'm coming back for you. No, no, no. You got me to stop stuttering, but it wasn't calm. It was. It was loving frustration. That's the best way I can describe it.
loving frustration. Okay, if that's what okay. And you know what I've learned from my children? I can't tell you how you perceived a particular situation because me thinking that I was being loving and calm apparently wasn't. But you've made it.
You were 50% right with that. So
Okay. I'm just saying.
so something that you said is that when people ask you, it's like, what do you want for your children, and you just said you want them to be a decent person. Within that, what were like some core things that you wanted your children to like know or embody growing up, and then in particular, what are some things that you wanted um, me as your only son to know?
So being respectful, and respectful is to a person. Excuse me, I have a tickle. Um,
Being respectful.
being respectful, kind, uh, having the ability to listen to some, even if you don't agree with someone, just being able to listen to what they're saying, because there could be a component that they bring to the table that you've never thought of. So if you were able to um, not be, I'm right, my position's right, I don't want to hear what you have to say, then you limit yourself with the ability to move forward and gather information.
Okay. And then in terms of your one and only son, what were things that you wanted me to know as a woman trying to raise a man? And obviously you didn't do it by yourself. You had help. We already spoke to him. I wanted to hear like from a woman's perspective.
Well, I'm going to go back to I can't. I was raising a person that
Mhm.
just happened to be male. I wasn't raising a man. You need that male energy, um, because something that you and I could experience the same thing, but you're going to have you're going to have that masculine energy with it, whether you know even at a young age what that is, but you know it's different. So I was raising uh, a person that just happened to be male. I wasn't raising a man. I mean, you're a wonderful man, and I like the way that. Wait a minute, I think I did my job well now that I'm thinking about it, because you do all of those things. You're respectful. You let people have the ability to voice their opinion. You're not trying to make people or me um, come around to your way of thinking. Wait, I did a good job, son.
Well, there you go. You get a gold star.
Okay.
Okay. Well, you said that, and I would disagree with you. It was like of yet like of course, like becoming a man, there are certain things that another man can only teach. Excuse me. And but I would say maybe, I guess in terms of maybe relationships, because they, like, it's the age old saying, it's like men tend to find women that embody certain attributes of like their mothers. And um to an extent, I do believe that that is true. I would say your stubbornness maybe not might not be one of them, but I love you for it. And with that, I guess what you were passively teaching me is like a concept of a woman and then how a woman interacts with her husband, if that makes sense.
Okay, I could see that. Wait, but let's go back to what do you mean I'm stubborn?
Um, you're hard headed. I don't know. Do you want me to give you thesaurus words for? I mean, you're stubborn sometimes.
Whoa.
You're stubborn
Okay,
sometimes, but it's okay.
all righty.
No, and here's the reason why I say this is because you'll you'll do things when you're ready to do things.
When am I supposed to do
Excuse me.
it? When am I, you said I do things when I want to do it. When am I supposed to do it?
Um, Maybe when the information becomes available to you, it's just like, oh, that makes sense. I should do that. But then there are times that you're just like, you know what? It's like, I'll do it when I'm ready to do it. The information is right, but there are times that, you just, but we're not going to talk about that right now
Okay.
because people are probably listening. It's just like, damn, they really getting into it. But no, but I would say is that, and I think it goes for both, like just children seeing when they're in a two-parent household, they see from both sides of like, for your daughters, seeing dad and seeing what type of man dad is, they know, or they've been, I guess, exposed to, it's like certain attributes in a man, and then seeing how a man interacts with his wife. So I think like from both sides, like having a two-parent household, you can see that. And the thing is that you guys have a very healthy relationship. So
But
that's always a plus as well.
oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad that was conveyed
So
to you.
speaking about that, you said 41 years you've been married.
82. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, hang on. It'll be 41 in June.
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, how did you and dad meet? What is our origin story?
So I met your father. I was working at an optical shop, and he had his karate school in the same mall. It was a strip mall. Excuse me. And you know, he knew the owner of the optical shop, and he would come in, to see the owner of the shop. And then when the guy wasn't there, because he was not a very good business person, he would tell people their glasses would be ready. They weren't. He'd give people he'd give them glasses and, they couldn't see out the daggone glasses, put in, the wrong lens in the wrong, on the wrong eye. So I think it wasn't just that he would come to see the owner. He also knew how the gentleman did business, and he would just come in and just checking on you, see how you doing. Okay, and then I think it might have been. Well, I couldn't stay at the job long because this gentleman didn't like to pay his employees, and
At
yeah,
all or on time?
it went from on not paying them on time to just not paying them. And your grandmother indicated to me, well, this is going to be the last day you go to work.
That's fair.
But she did come up to there and ask him nicely, like when was he planning on paying me the money that I had worked for. And he said that that's not your business. And so pretty much she was right. I wasn't coming back because she was like, let's go.
Yeah, I was about to say, from what I've heard, grandma doesn't play that. So
Not at all. Oh, wait a minute, son. I just looked down at your name. Why is Ali?
it's the way it's the way I typed it.
Okay.
Don't worry, people that are listening, they're not going to see it. So, but okay, but you still haven't gotten to
Excuse me.
the fireworks moment between you and dad.
Okay, so your father always knew that he wanted to have children. I happen to be your father's second wife because he got into that first marriage and apparently they didn't have that conversation. And she was like, I'm not having no kids. And he was like, okay, well, this isn't going to work out. And now they actually stayed married they were married for about 10 years. They hadn't lived together in about 8. When
What were they waiting for? Well, I guess that's a question for him.
he was like, well, he hadn't not planned on. He was like, I'm not getting married, Why am I going to pay for it? Why am I paying for a divorce? So then when he met me and we could just, everything started off, we were just platonically for about a year, maybe 2. And go to the movies. We go to different. He was in I don't know if you told them that your father's a martial artist, and he would go to tournaments. It was we just do different things, and the whole time I'm thinking, oh, this is a real nice guy. This is a cool guy. And then I think maybe he said to me, oh, why don't we go out to dinner? He was like, and then he threw me off with this next statement. He was like, on a date. Wait, what? A date? I was like, I don't know. I gotta think about that. It wasn't that I didn't like him. It just threw me off. I didn't know. So we went out on a date. And he said, you just don't know how to do this, do you? I was like, was like, I meant this was really going to be a date.
You didn't show up in sweats, did you?
Well, I didn't know where we were going. No, I didn't. I wouldn't know. I wasn't ever a sweat.
You weren't a
No,
sweatshirt, sweatpants type of
no,
gal?
no, not at all. So, but he was like, well, we're going to try this again. And first date
Wait,
place,
you guys had to do a redo of your first date because you didn't know how to do it?
well, I didn't. And remember, he's 13 years older than me. So
Yeah, we were
you
gonna.
know,
We were gonna get there about the
mm,
age gap.
difference.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Because of the age gap, gotta let the people know you started seeing him when you were what age?
I must have been like 19 or 20.
Okay, so you're 33.
Mhm.
But then you guys didn't become serious until you were what, 21, 22?
21.
And back now, again, I don't want to say back then. You guys
Oh,
aren't old. You guys aren't, well, he's kind of old. But
he's
back then,
older.
older, yes, seasoned, more seasoned in life. We'll say that.
Thank you.
He's peppered. Um, they like people would get married at a younger age. Like people like there were people that were getting married at like 21, 22, 23, which is like a complete different mindset that we have now.
Correct.
Because I think the average age of like like people getting married is like 28, 29. And it's slowly going up to like early 30s. Because people are waiting.
Well, that's because young people have so many things to deal with, you know.
Yeah.
Like young people, it would have been unheard of when we got married that you would be going and looking at apartments and paying $2,000-$3,000 a month for an apartment. Just outrageous. They're like, nah, no, that wasn't a part of our reality at the time.
Well, back then
So
you could go to the movies for a nickel. So yeah, it was.
uh, you think you are so funny.
I am.
Uh,
I don't think it. I know it. No. Okay. So you went on the second date because you fumbled the bag on the first one. Okay. Um, and then from there it's just we all know how dating goes and everything like that. Um, at what point did uh did the two of you decide to move in together? Go ahead.
so I believe it was about once we started dating, maybe 8 months that we moved in. But he was kind of clear that this was only going to be a short-term thing, that we were getting married. So it wasn't like, oh, let's move in together, let's see what happens. It was, let's move in together because we know what's going to happen. That's how he saw it. And that's what he stated.
Okay. And you were pretty much just like, yeah, I'm on board for that.
Yeah, I mean, he's really an amazing guy, but okay. Excuse me.
I mean, yeah, he made me and I'm amazing. Sorry, that's a little bit of my narcissism coming out. Uh, no, but Okay, because I think especially in this day and age is that with I would say maybe like with a decent amount of people is that it's like they have not like they'll get married and have not have lived together for a substantial amount of time. And I honestly think that if you're dating someone, it's like you need to have spent, I think, at least a year living with that person because they might be cool and everything like that when you see them or you come over and visit and everything like that. But the mundane day-to-day things, you might find out they have little quirks that just really tick you off. And it's something that can easily erode a relationship if you don't know these things.
Well, our family says that you and I have traits that are alike. Like, but don't worry, you'll know whether Anne or Chantel have been someplace because, they always leave things around.
I think we just like to leave our mark on any place we've been.
Oh, I didn't know that's where we were going.
There we go. They tried to make it a negative. I turned it into a positive. We
Well,
establish
yeah.
dominance in every situation we're in. We leave a mark.
But yeah, and I was like, okay, that sounds like a personal problem, but all right.
Now, granted, we don't leave a mess. It's just like maybe like one thing was just like, oh, Chantilly was here.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
he'll tell me. He was like, oh, your because your mind when you leave things around. And I was like, he's gonna come back for it. It's all right, man. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, it's okay.
So,
So with moving in, you pretty much established that you guys were going to get married. Um, knowing that he was married before, did that weigh at all on your decision to get like married?
well, I guess I mean he had conversations with me that apparently he didn't have with his first wife. Like, do you want children? I mean,
That seems
because
like one like straight up like right off the gates is like I've been through this before. Do you want children? Yes or no?
that was him. It was like, I mean, I didn't realize it until I met him, but I didn't know that there were men that were like, yeah, I want a family. Yeah, well, how many kids you want? Um, so it just never occurred to me that it was going to be about, um, I want children. And I knew I wanted children. Um, and then we ended up with more children than we had anticipated. For a while, for a while, we ended up with 7 kids after my sister's passing. And I knew then that that was not the life. No one should, well, I wasn't meant to be responsible for all those little people. Nope.
That was your threshold.
Nope. Oh, 7 people. No, 7 little people. And there was basically 3 sets of twins. And then there was the one child that I didn't have a compliment to. That would be Tonita.
Mhm.
But everybody else, and then, you just learn things about, like you said, you said that young people now are, what you say, about a year of living together. That's what the average is for young people.
No, I'm saying is that I think that you should live with your significant other for at least a year.
You don't think that you're going to know what a person, who they are within 6 months?
Well, yeah, but also you like, unless you want to break a lease, like,
Wow, y'all be coming to the table with a whole bunch of financial commitments and variables. Okay.
I mean, okay, hang on. Because if I have a girlfriend, like, and this is part of some of the things that I've learned from dad, is like both of our names will be on the lease, but I would want to be in a financial position where I handle the rent. Both of our names are on it, but it's like you're not like, you have to have some skin in the game.
So what happens when you can't make the rent?
Well, I mean, first of all, hopefully I've saved up some money to, rainy day fund. But I would I've figured out. Or if my girlfriend was in a position where she can help out, it's like then I I guess this because it's something that I learned from the both of you on how when you guys got together is that it is something that I've learned from you that I would look for is that if like I feel like I wouldn't have to ask
That's right.
because when you and dad were living together, um, there was a time where I think he was between what the security job or something and becoming a police officer or something like that. Um, but there was a point where there was like a bill that needed to get paid and he couldn't do it right then and there, but like later on in the week. And when he went to go pay it, you already went down there. This is back when you had to actually physically go to places to pay bills. Um, no, because I have to let the people know because they're like, you couldn't just pay it online. No, you had to go to a physical building and pay bills that way.
100%
But when
correct.
he went down there, they said that it was already paid for. And then when he came back, he asked you, and you said that like you already. So I guess for you, what was your mentality behind doing something like that? Because there are some women nowadays will just be like, well, you pay it, and if you can't pay it, then I guess it's not getting paid. But what was your mentality for what you ended up doing?
Just seemed logical. I mean, you're living in common space and something needs to be paid. Well, why wouldn't I pay it? It wasn't about me trying to demasculate him. It was just like, oh, this okay. Here the bills. I see the bill. You can't be walking past mail like it's, oh, that must be for somebody else. That really wasn't for me. Or electric, gas, water. Mm, okay, no, we gonna have to do better than that. Because if that's the kind of mindset of the person you're with, that's probably gonna be a problem later on.
Okay. So that was, I guess, so with that, that was the mentality when you and dad had an apartment together. So once you got a house and then started building the family, yay, we'll say it in a PG term. Um, because growing up, I remember it's like for the most part, you stayed home with us and dad went to work. What did that conversation look like between the both of you of I guess like who stays home with the kids or like are we both going to be working like the dynamic of the family once you started building them.
Well, remember, he always wanted kids, so he came to the table with, you can, I want you, I want kids, I want you to stay home and raise them. you know, if
Mhm.
that's what you want to do. And I was like, you know what, that seems appealing to me. I'm okay.
Like, I'm fine with this arrangement. It was like, I get to stay home and raise it. Yeah, yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that for 500. Uh,
No, Alex, I want that for 2,000.
2000. Okay.
Yes, 2,000, Alex.
Okay. No, because I guess because people would look at the type of marriage and lifestyle that you and dad have and say like, oh, like that's a very traditional type of marriage, or yeah, marriage. And I think with a lot of times when people look at it, they go to the extreme of like the hyper masculine husband was just like, you're staying home with the kids and you can't do this. And it's like, that's the only, but in reality, from speaking to you guys, is that um there was much more thought that went in behind that, and much more autonomy that you had within that, correct?
Correct.
So in terms, because a big thing is that because the husband is the one that's working and bringing home the bacon, generating the finances, what was, like, I guess, the financial labor agreement that you and dad had?
The financial labor agreement.
Like, he made, like, okay, I I guess I have to answer it because I did not ask that in the best way. So I'm I'm still working on my skills. So let me just bear with me.
Okay.
The From what I understood is that the arrangement was is that like he would make the money, but you would manage it.
That's correct.
So essentially it's just like you knew what every, like, all the bills, where this needed to go, where that needed to go, where that needed to go. So it wasn't as if it was 50-50 in the sense of there was work that needed to be done concerning the finances, but his 50% of it is creating and generating those finances, and your 50% was managing that.
Correct. Yep, that's how it happened.
And was that a conversation that the two of you had, or is it just something that kind of just worked itself out?
I think it worked itself out.
Okay. So
Well, you also remember he being his second marriage, he was like, okay, and he's older than me. So he came to the table with some ideas. Okay, you're gonna need to always have your own bank account. Um, and you know,
I didn't know that.
yeah, so no, you always need to have your own bank account. Um,
Now, did he also have his own, or was it just you have your own and then mine is ours?
that's his belief. His was mine. He said it, not me.
Okay, no, I can't. I mean, I'm just saying, there's a lot of city girls right now. It's just like, that's right. It's like mine is mine and yours is mine too. Okay, well,
Wait,
I
what kind of girls?
city girls. I'll explain it to you when we get off the podcast.
Okay.
That was a plug for the younger listeners. Um, what, I have to stay relevant.
Okay.
I'm
All
pushing
right,
I'm
home.
pushing 30 with gray hair. I'm slowly just aging myself out.
Wow, son.
Okay. No, because I think these are important things that like people need to know, because uh yeah, there are, of course there are some women that are just like, I want to, like, I have no problem staying home and taking care of the kids and everything like that. I think that a lot of times is that, like I said before, people go to the extreme where they think the stay-at-home wife is less respected or like mistreated or like somehow subjugated by her husband because of the fact that like he's making money. But
Yeah, being devalued. Yes,
yes,
I believe you. Okay, well, that wasn't it happening in my life.
well, yeah, yeah. And
Nope.
I think it's good to just to have it out there and show people it's just like this is one way that it can that a stay-at-home like a traditional marriage can work. There are other ways that it can work and things like that. And it's like, but to always have that type of mentality or that type of thought around those certain type of things, I think also to an extent, it does take away the autonomy of the women who choose that life.
See, what I'm always so confused about is why how people have opinions on other people's relationships because you don't know what is going on um, in the relationship. So, why don't you stay over there and, be the best you can be for you and your relationship. And women should, and men should have the ability to speak to one another, exchange ideas. Listen, remember, your father would get off of work, and I was like, I didn't cook dinner. Oh, okay, I guess he gonna be here soon. No, I called my mother to see how she was doing. I'm like, wait a minute, is that Hint's voice? Your father was going to visit your grandmother and seeing what was going on with her because she lived in the city of Boston and we lived actually we lived here in Brockton. So he worked there. He go and see his mother-in-law. Then
Have a couple glasses of Jack Daniels.
of course. And then he was like he was taking his friends. Like, oh yeah, I'm going over my mother-in-law's. It's like, well, they having a party and I have not been invited. Okay. But
But he also really loved grandma.
he did. He did that. In fact, he would tell you that for 10 years after her transitioning, he couldn't drink Jack Daniels. Just wasn't something he was able to do.
Hmm,
And I was like, okay.
I did not know that.
Well, I mean,
Look at us finding out these things.
yes, sir.
Well, I have one more question for you, and then I'll let you go. Well, I have one more question, and then if you have any advice for new parents or newly wed people. But the question I wanted to ask you is that has there been anything that like I have taught you that has helped change your perspective about something?
Oh yeah. I mean, you and I will have conversations. Uh, you and I will have a lot of conversations, and you give me the room to expand my thinking uh, about things, about young people, about we exchange information about nutrition. We do a lot of exchanging different information. And what you bring to the table is that you bring the information to me so that and you bring it to me with not just, well, this is how it is, Mom. Okay, first of all, we're not going to talk to me in that tone. That's never been, well, there was that one time that you raised your voice at me.
Because you weren't, I was trying to explain to you, and you just weren't listening to me. It was frustrated love.
And I had, and my reaction to that frustrated love was, I, in turn, was frustrated, but I loved you. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but you and I can have a conversation and we'll be on the phone hour, 2 hours, to 3 o'clock in the morning. And then you're like, oh man, I gotta, maybe you gotta go, son, because you gotta go to work. I don't have those constraints.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you don't.
nope. But that's what
Because
you,
your husband spoils you,
well, that's very true.
as he should.
You know,
A soft life.
did you say a soft life?
Yes, that's a term that people. That's a term that people.
Oh man,
It's not soft in the sense of like there were no struggles, but a soft in terms of it's just like it's like you have someone there that helps like provide and do certain things like that for you.
okay.
When you wanted a new car, what kind of
Wait.
car did he get you? Yeah, yeah.
I don't have to say the answer, do I? Okay, he got
It's
me.
up to you. It's up to
He,
you.
he got me on Lexus.
Yes. You said, I'm done with this minivan. I want a stunt. And he put you in a Lexus. Uh, but
What?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, the minivan had some issues,
Yeah, we
and
kept getting our fingers caught in the door.
I don't know about that.
Oh,
I
I
actually, I actually, I accidentally hit one of the children that I was raising with the minivan, and then that was that time. Then I kind of, how many times have you had pneumonia, son?
four
And there was that one time when you told
four
me you had,
consecutive years.
and there was that one time you told me that you had pneumonia. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't think so. And Karma had a marching band competition. Yeah, it was really cold outside.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. There was that. And then also the time, oh that I'll say this and then we'll finish up. Same minivan. I think it was Home Depot. We went to Home Depot and it was in the middle of the summer. And I, for some reason, it was my asthma was starting to act up. So because we were walking around, because Home Depots are pretty goddamn big. And we go to the car. I think it was me, Dharma, and Karma. And Karma turns on the car, but she doesn't turn over the engine and just like turns on the AC. And it's just hot air blasting for at least 20 minutes. And by the time you get back, it is scorching hot in the and like with minivans, like the back window, it doesn't roll down. It just like it slides open, like tilts open. So that was tilted open just a little bit, and my face is just up against the glass, just trying to get air. And I remember you came in and like were justifiably like not happy with Karma. And just like, you didn't turn over the car, like this is not blowing cold air. And she didn't know. She didn't know. And I remember,
Hey, look at you. You ran to the that's your
from the
mother.
back of the van, you just hear, "Don't be mad at her, mom. She didn't know."
You defend your mother, Tiger. Okay.
I mean,
And that's
she didn't
your
know.
okay.
I lost 5 pounds of sweat in the back of that seat, but yeah, she just didn't know.
I didn't know when you were going to get your life right. I was like, what is she trying to do? She didn't, that's the one that she says she likes. I'm like, okay. All righty.
No,
I was
she's
almost down a son.
oh yeah, yeah.
Well,
you almost lost one that day. You know how people have stickers on the back of their car where it's just like, oh, like how many people? Yeah, you almost had to peel a sticker off because you almost lost one.
one of them kids would have been off the bumper.
Yes. But so go ahead, and if you have any final advice for new parents, people that are currently parenting that are maybe confused, or people that just recently got married or thinking about marriage and they're trying to figure out what their life is going to look like, what is some advice you would give to those people? Let's start with parents first.
Parents. I would say the most important thing that parents, these two people that are going to mold and expose their children to things is to be on the same page, understand. Actually, let me take that back. And the reason I'm taking it back is because your cousin Denise wrote an article about Dad and I for something called the Huffington Post. And she said that when
Okay, you need to send that to me. I did not know that.
I have to ask her how to go back or how about getting it. But it was, she said, when I see my aunt and my uncle, they're in the, my aunt said they're in the same book, but not on the same page. Well, yes, because sometimes some people, they got to go back and read a page over and over. They have to dissect it. Your father has like 3 highlighters and different colors and different things.
Well, I think some of his pages are written on stone tablets.
Nope.
No?
Told you
Okay.
we don't talk
Can't talk
about
about
them
them like that?
We
Okay.
can't talk about them like that. But just knowing what there would be nothing more confusing for a child, and the parents were all over the place. You have one parent that believes that, oh, I'm gonna let them express themselves any way they want, and another parent that is a very strict parent. In fact, I had my feelings hurt recently. I called your father and Dharma and asked them were they going to watch this particular TV show. I think it's called Parenting, and they take these 8 families and look at all of these different parenting skill set.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the kids, the the kid said, "Oh, I know what I want. I want you to say yes to anything that I say." And that's that. And so one of the parents were like, "Okay." The other one was like, "I don't know." Well, the one that said yes, he wasn't ready for what that son had for him. He said, "Well, whatever I say, you have to say yes." And he said, "Okay." Well, he said, I'm going to hit you. And it wasn't a matter of time. That little boy, his father, the other father was looking like, oh, I'm glad he knows which parent that is, because, we're not doing that. So you need to make sure that the parameters are clearly stated for parents. When, how you're going to raise these little people, what's going to be accepted, what's not going to be accepted.
And with that is that still leaving some space for growth, correctives, where it's like these are like my hard no's, and then these are like my soft no's, where it's just like, if you can explain to me why this is a better way, then I'm willing to come around to that. Correct?
Correct.
So it would be, I guess it'd be more so making sure that your hard no's are the same, so that you don't run into getting uppercut by your son.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay. So, that's it. And then
For the newlyweds or people that are already married.
already married, but
The marriage people.
the people that are married that don't have kids yet.
Yes.
I know it sounds really simple, but sometimes you just need to write things, and not on a tablet, not by way of text messages, on a piece of paper where people can see what you're saying. Oh, this is what you want. This is what, so that you can come back and see. The other thing we didn't speak about, but your father had a philosophy of that every relationship should have a 5-year check-in, see where we're going, how things are doing, and have a plan for the next 5 years.
Mm.
Some of us, we didn't. We started off, but then life started happening, and we went from those 3 children to those 7 children. Didn't see that in our 5-year plan. But what we knew for sure was that I was not meant to have that amount of children, because he came in from work and he was like, "What's up?" I was like, "Hey." He said, "What you doing out here?" I was standing in the driveway at 25 Wellesley Road. I said, I can't do that. I can't keep all of them people. Those people,
Wait, were you just standing outside, just looking at the sky, finding answers? Like,
I was just,
you were just
yes.
standing outside?
I was just, because I kept thinking if I went in there, I was going to say something or do something that wasn't going to be right. That's what I knew. And that's what people need to know. People need to know who they are and know what their limits are. That's what they need. I can't, someone can't tell me what my limit is. But I knew those 7 children was my limit. And I was like, this isn't really going to work out well.
Mm.
Oh, but remember the other children, they didn't have any structure. I came home one day and I had a child that was climbing on the counter. And I was so confused. I was like, oh, okay. We don't walk on the counter. Your feet are for the ground. What is it that you need? I don't want to talk to you. Okay, so apparently you know this was not one of my biological children. Okay. Well, now you don't have to worry about climbing on the counter. You don't have to worry about uh, not speaking to me because you're going to be over there in the corner because that's not how we talk to me because I'm the adult here. So that's not happening. So
Well, some
uh,
people would say you just needed more patience, Mom.
there wasn't enough time in the world that was going to make me understand why you were climbing. You're funny, Chantel.
I'm sorry. Sometimes I just like to gaslight you. Uh,
Okay. So, you know, um,
so it's
this,
about potentially having a like, if you can, having a 5-year plan, sitting down, making sure that. But I guess the question I would ask you is that writing down like what you want and everything like that, wouldn't that be something that is talked about when you're dating someone before you commit to marriage?
yes. However, I think people think that once you're married, that the relationship it is what it is. All relationships should be continuously growing.
Mm.
So, you know, that is it. I just have to, understand that every couple of years, and especially now, there are so many things that were not like didn't exist when we first got married to where we are now. It's like, now we got to talk about this. We have to talk about like we as a family need to talk to your father and make sure that he is not out here. He's always getting on a virus on his laptop or his phone because he's clicking and reading this. And nah, man, wait, just stop. Just wait before you.
Yeah, I need to give him like a computer literacy class because he'll be trying to order things from China, but it goes through Russia first, and they try to take his identity. Yeah, it. I need to talk to him about that. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Maybe
And,
that's the
and
next business I start is computer literacy for the seasoned in life.
well, then he always wants to go to Apple and they have a class for you. But I was like, I don't know, man. I don't think you want to take your laptop to Apple and see where all of your travels and the articles that you read. No, I don't think so.
He does read some wild articles.
He does. Because you all see that he sends it to us in our family chat.
Yeah, yeah. Dad be having the group chat on fire sometimes.
And I asked him, I was like, when you're sending these things between 3 and 6 o'clock in the morning, don't you know that you and I are the only two that are awake?
Well, yeah. Well, for him, it's because of the fact that he used to work the graveyard shift, so his sleep schedule is still messed up. He's been retired for almost a decade now, right?
Mm-hmm. You're all right, man. There have been several times in this conversation I've said something about your father, and you have been like, no, but you defend that dude strong.
I defend my family strong. Okay.
Okay, I was just talking about you and your father, but I'm pretty sure that you do that across the board.
Yes, to the point where sometimes my siblings get mad at me, but I just tell them to shut up. But is there anything else in like with closing that you'd wanna just tell people, impart some wisdom on?
I don't know if I'm wise.
You are.
I would say, thank you. I would say, Here's the thing that I think. Well, let me ask you this question. Would you date someone that had children?
Would I date someone that had children?
Yes.
Um, there are two stipulations. One, how what is their parenting style? And when you're coming into that uh, relationship, like, okay, so yes, but there would be some uh, gates that would have to be passed first, because my mentality is like, if I'm trying to date you and you have children, I don't want to meet your child until we know that this is actually serious, because I know how impressionable children are. And I don't want to be just another, um, I don't want to
Uncle.
say like another, I don't want to say trauma event, but I don't want to be just that, like another nigga that just like came in and out. It was just like, oh yeah, that guy that dated mom for 6 months, saw him, he hung out with me for a little bit, and then like I never saw him again, because that aids into a pathology that some children can start to develop. And I just don't want to be a part, I don't want to come up in a therapy session. Um,
Yeah, mom used to date this guy, that one that had the funny name. And
really? You're gonna call it a funny name? Okay.
that's what they would call it.
You're the ones that gave it to me.
I'm proud of your name, man.
Me too. And then so it would be, so that's my stipulation. First of all, is like, just talking to you, is that I'm not like, I don't want to meet them until like I know that it's serious, because they're, like you said, know yourself. I know that if I meet the kid, it's just like, I would want to stay in the kid's life and make sure that, like, they're okay, they're taking care of everything like that. Um, but with some people is that if a relationship ends and the child might have a good relationship with that person, they will use that relationship to hurt that person, saying like, well, you can't see them, things like that. And it's like, so I don't want to deal with, I don't want to put myself in a possibility, in a situation where that's a possibility.
Okay, gotcha.
The other thing is, it's just like, if we do progress and we get married and everything like that, and it's just like, in terms of disciplining your child, it's like, we need to be on the same page about it, because if if I discipline at that point our child, if we're married and we're together.
Okay, I was getting ready. Whew, I thought I
I was
had
getting there.
lost you.
I was getting
Whew,
there. I was getting there.
thank you.
Don't worry. I was getting there. If I discipline our child, you then can't turn around and say, it's like, oh, don't talk to my son like that. And it's just like, as soon as I hear you say that, then I know that we're not together. We're just roommates at this point.
Yeah, you're right about that.
So it's like, it's those types of things. And then also it depends on like the age of the child, because the thing is that if I meet your child and they're like, I don't know, like between like 13 and like 16, and I meet the child and they have an attitude, or they have a type of persona that I don't really care for, as bad as it's going to sound, that is a reflection of how you raised them. So why would I want to marry you and potentially have children with you if I can see the product of you raising a child?
Oh,
That might sound a little bit rude, but I mean, you raised the motherfucker.
well, I mean, that's a lot.
You weren't ready for that, were you?
That was a lot.
Yeah.
Well, son, I think that might do it for this podcast.
That might wrap it up. Okay. Okay. Well, let me go ahead and do the outro.
Say that again.
No, I need to do the outro. So everyone, that has been another episode. The first episode when we're coming back of Tomb Talks with the Pharaoh. Stay tuned. I have a lot of great episodes coming up, and you're definitely not going to want to miss it. Until then, I'll see you guys next week.
Peace.